Hello and welcome to Invested in Heritage Tourism. This episode, we're talking to a PIF company that is supporting the development of world-class tourism, real estate, and infrastructure in the ancient Saudi Arabian governorate of AlUla. It's the AlUla Development Company, and they're doing all of that from inception to completion. Fabien Toscano is the CEO, and he's here to discuss just how they're doing it. I'm Kimberley Leonard from PIF, the investment engine driving economic transformation for Saudi Arabia and the world. And we're discussing how the company is rejuvenating and preserving one of the world's largest and oldest cultural sites and creating opportunities for the local community and the people of Saudi Arabia. Fabien, thank you so much for talking to us. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
AlUla is so iconic, really, when it comes to Saudi Arabia. I'm sure it is possibly one of the first images that comes to people's minds when they think of Saudi Arabia. But what is AlUla?
Well, AlUla Development Company, as you know, is a PF company. As a PF company, we've been created to really support the development of AlUla into a global destination. And as an organization, our focus is really on real estate development and really building a world-class portfolio of hospitality assets, residential assets, and also commercial assets to support the building up that vision. So there is the Royal Commission of AlUla, which is the governing body and the authority. And then there's us as a PF company. And we are there to support the entire vision set by the Royal Commission in terms of building real estate development assets.
And if you could just explain the geography as well, because I think that's another thing that people don't understand. It's in a valley, there's a city there, and it's in the Medina region, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. It's really actually an oasis, if you really think about it. It's really surrounded by incredible landscape and incredible mountains. And of course, there's all the historical element of it. It has the first site that's recognized at UNESCO, that's a Saudi site, which is Agra. And of course, there's the old town as well. And then we are building our assets around that to add to the place.
So many people, when they've gone there, they talk about the beauty of it.
Oh, it is. It's a fantastic place. Everything is just incredible. The sky, the mountains, the history, the culture, and most importantly, I think the people are just incredible in AlUla.
Let's talk about AlUla Development Company. What exactly is it and what does it do?
So the focus is, for us, we're really a real estate company, and we already do two things. We do real estate development, so we will design, conceive, ensure that the buildings are being built in AlUla. We also do asset management to ensure that everything that we build is asset managed. And today we have already a portfolio of projects we asset manage, and we are developing new offering. The focus today has been mostly on hospitality, and then we also own the Maria building today.
So you're focusing on hospitality at the moment, but the plan is to go broader?
Hospitality, and there will be, of course, some residential as components to that, and eventually more as well.
What projects do you have on at the moment?
So in terms of, first of all, in terms of existing assets, we have the Buy and Tree, which is in operation. We have Habitats as well, and there's two elements of Habitats. There's also the Caravan by Habitats. And we have Maria as the concert hall. Those assets are under operation and being asset managed by our team at the moment, working with the operators that are operating the buildings. We are also, right now, we started construction development on the Marriott, the 250-key Marriott collection, which will be in the center of AlUla. So quite a different offering from the other assets. We have a joint venture partnership with Kuhn Holding, which is to develop an Amman project. We are now in the design stage. We've signed an HMA, which is an hotel management agreement with 6 Sense, and we are the design stage of that at the moment. And we're also working on a building for staff accommodation for all the hospitality staff, for a little bit more than 1,000 staff in the center of AlUla. So all of that is happening at the moment in terms of design and development.
Okay. Why is the Marriott going to be different?
Well, it's really first of all, it's a different offering. It's the center of town. It's a totally different offering in terms of where it is located, but also in terms of price point and positioning.
What is AlUla Development Company's relationship with PIF?
We are a PIF entity, and as such, our strategy is very much aligned with PIF's strategy to diversify the Saudi economy which is also aligned with Vision 2030. On our side, really the focus and how we focus on that is through real estate and tourism.
It must be difficult to build and to run real estate in that area because you have to take into account the cultural heritage, you have to take into account sustainability.
As you know, in AlUla, we're talking about more than 7,000 years of history, different civilizations having passed through or left their mark in AlUla. There's the oasis of AlUla, the natural beauty of the place. So all we have to do on our side really is to carefully place assets that add to the place, but not take away from it. But that requires for us to be very careful in terms of how we manage the design process by bringing the right type of architects, the right type of contractors, thinking about the materials that we are using during the development process.
It sounds like there's a lot to do when you come there.
We are very careful in terms of what we are putting together to ensure that every hotel and every asset will offer something slightly different, a different experience. And of course, you can then go and visit the cultural sites. You can go to the central AlUla to also experience other type of offerings. And also if people want the outdoors or everything is really open in terms of what people can do. And I think it's only going to get better and better.
Let's talk about the people you have working there. Saudis, I can imagine, and international expertise. So how are you working with local expertise, Saudi-wide expertise, and international expertise?
Yeah, I think today actually in the company we have actually a majority of Saudis in the organization. We brought some people with specific skill set and expertise in certain areas of the business from overseas. So I think for us, it's really about bringing the talent and ensuring the talent communicates, work together. And I think that's the beauty of what Saudi is doing today, is bringing talent from all over the world, ensuring that people can exchange ideas, learn from each other's expertise and experience. And we are learning a lot from the Saudi colleagues, from their experience doing projects and working on projects here in Saudi Arabia. And then we're mixing that with broader international experience. So it's been a great pleasure to come to work and work with a wonderful team and great people every day.
And what PIF is doing in building these ecosystems, so much is said about the tourism offer here. It does sound like it is building an ecosystem and you're having that knowledge transfer.
Yes, that's correct. And I think not only between ourselves within our own organization, but liaising with PIF, other PIF companies, it's very important to exchange ideas, take notes, learn from what is happening, learn from better being able to take care of opportunities or face challenges if there are any, and really listen to people. So it's a continuous learning experience that we have.
That focus on the private sector, that's very much what PIF is about, isn't it?
Yes. No, that's very important to create the right environment and working with the right partners. And as the destination gets built, that the value creation gets shared with the private sector and that expertise comes as well. We talked earlier about sharing ideas, but the private sector knows a lot. They're working every day in this market. They can come and a lot of the times they can do things, in certain areas much better than we can. So we should definitely work with them in the areas where they can bring the most value, and we should focus in the areas where we can bring the most value.
So what has being a PIF entity meant for UDC?
For us, being a PIF entity is really, I think, a chance. I often talk with my leadership team and I often communicate that we are very lucky. I've worked in the private sector before, and working with PIF really gives us the kind of support that any new company needs. So first, we are working on nation-building project, which is really a great motivation in itself. Second, we're getting a lot of support, a lot of know-how being shared. We can, through PIF, also get access to potential partners, open the doors for us as well. It is at this critical stage, because our company is still quite new, it is really, really a huge advantage to be a PIF entity. And I can tell you, with the team, there's probably not a day going by where we don't interact with the PIF team in one way or another, whether it's on the hospitality side, the development side, and we exchange ideas, we discuss. So for me, it is really a strength. And that's a strength that we also have to be able to better use as a company, as UDC, and better continue to seek the different interaction and seek the exchanges of ideas.
And does that help with UDC fitting into the broader tourism picture in Saudi Arabia?
It does, because we have, of course, AlUla has a target in terms of the number of tourists that he has to bring by 2030 and 35. So it's 2 million people that have to visit AlUla by 2035. UDC will play part of that. We are not going to be building all the assets to meet all that demand, but we will play a key part in that, and definitely be aligned with PIF in terms of the strategy, and how to best do that is very important.
You said you attract both Saudis to the
Yes.
destination, but also international visitors,
Yes.
right?
We have actually visitors from the entire world almost coming to AlUla. There are flights now coming from, of course, from Riyadh, but also
There's
flights
an airport
coming.
at AlUla, right?
There is
For
an
people who
airport in
don't know,
AlUla,
yeah.
and the airport is attracting flights from overseas, not only from Saudi. There's flights from other regional countries as well.
And I think perhaps people don't realize that there is a huge internal Saudi market, isn't there?
Definitely, we have today actually a lot of the demand for our hotels come from the Saudi market. People come and visit, and I expect that this will continue to increase.
Let's talk about the cultural heritage and what's going on there, because you have to preserve 7,000 years of history, and yet you have to develop a modern hotel sector in there. How are you doing that?
We are not managing the cultural side. On our side, we are managing the hotel sites, which some of them actually have to be very well taken care of when it comes to history. But really, the focus for us is really, again, to focus on the design, on the offering, on the operation, ensure it is sustainable, ensure we are using the right materials, the right designers, that we work closely with the Royal Commission, which has a total process when it comes to planning approval, etc., in terms of built approval, etc. So there's really an ecosystem in place to ensure that whatever we put in place follows a certain process to ensure that it meets the expectation.
Where did the materials come from? Are they locally sourced?
A lot of it is locally sourced. So we have a lot of responsibility to ensure that a lot of it is locally sourced. And if it is not, it is very carefully picked to meet the needs.
How does AlUla specifically complement PIF's other tourism targets?
The way it does is really to the offering. It is, I think, a very unique offering due to the history, the natural beauty of the place, the fact that it's an oasis. So it is the uniqueness of the location makes us very, very unique. We are focusing mostly on hospitality at the moment, but we'll also focus on residential. We're adding residential units ourselves there. There will also be residential units being incorporated within the hospitality offering. So we're definitely, one of our focus for us is people to visit, live in AlUla, and invest in AlUla. And that's the focus that we have as an organization to ensure those three things happen.
How long have you been at the company? Just over a year now?
A little bit more than a year now.
What sort of cultural changes have you brought in?
I think if you really think about culture, I believe culture is probably the second most important things in an organization after a strategy. So I think we need to first establish a strategy. Second, we need to establish a culture. And that's something probably that takes time to fully embed within the organization, especially when we bring the talent from all over the world to come into one place. But for me, the first and most important one is really leadership. I really strongly believe that leadership shouldn't start with myself. Everyone can be a leader. Someone could be a new graduate, join the company, and they can lead. It's not about title. It's really about leadership, passion for what we do, communication, teamwork. And I really believe in having a flat structure. I talk to everyone in the organization. I exchange ideas with everyone. And that's the culture that I'm still working on, that I'm establishing in the organization, because this is how we can exchange ideas with all these great minds that we bring on board. And I think that's what we need on a project, working on a project like ours, to constantly challenge each other. And the best ideas don't always come from the top. Some of them come from, new joiner. They can come from all type of people from different backgrounds coming into the organization. It's important that we are there and that we listen.
You sound like you're very passionate about your job. Is that in general, or is it an added layer because you're dealing with such a beautiful place, all this history, at a time that is such a pivotal time for Saudi Arabia?
Well, first of all, I am incredibly passionate about the opportunity. Having a chance to work and contribute to AlUla it's incredible to me. It's probably one of the main reasons I joined, actually, because again, the place is there and it is really concrete. We just have to really add the offering, and it's just going to take off. So for me, it's very, very important. I take the responsibility and the trust being put on myself very seriously. And I want to make sure that we give everything to achieve the vision that we have for this organization and for AlUla more broadly.
Fabien, thank you so much for your time. It's been fascinating talking to you. Thank you again. And to you, wherever you're watching from, wherever you're listening from, thank you, and we'll see you next time.